This type of Yerushalmi Eruvin. The article owes for edition where Daf Yud Zayin Rav beginning Halacha Dalet, which in the Vilna is on Tev Zayin Rav, also being Halacha Dalet. Ima derech harabim mishfasaklam. There was a derech harabim, a thoroughfare for the masters going through Paski Biros. So you got to move the derech to the sides. Paski Biros does not work in the middle of the derech harabim. That's the according to the Kama. The Chachamim say it's not necessary to move it. Now, though the Tanakama is not named, we know from the previous Mishnah that it's Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda who has restrictions on the restricted the possibility based on the previous Mishnah. He is the one who says here that if Derech Rabim goes to the Pasibiros, you have to move it. Say it's not necessary. What kind of water structure has to be in the Pasibiros in order to permit it? It doesn't matter if it is a well of the masses or a cistern of the Rabim, which cistern only contains water, doesn't well up into it. And even the well of an individual. Osim pasim, you can make pasim. But if it's a cistern of an individual, osim mechitza gbar asara tfachiyat and only works with a regular mechitza all around it of 10 tfachiyat. Di Rabbi Akiva. You remember, enosim pasim be'er haram. It's got to be tied to the divus. It's got to have a double positive. It's got to be be'er, well, and larabim. It's got to be for the masses. Shar, any other water structure, osim chagura gava asar tfachim, a belt of 10 tfachim around it, and the pasim do not suffice. Okay, it says more. Rabbi Yehuda seems to contradict himself. The Dina telling we learned over there, Mishnah is also in Eruvin. If you have a gesher, a bridge, which is mefulash, for some reason the article gives you a picture, but I'm not sure the picture is necessary, but here's a picture. Gesher mefulash. There's a road underneath the gesher, underneath the bridge. You can carry underneath the bridge on Shabbos, and we rely on Pitikro Yer B'Soisim. You only say Pitikro when you have mechitzas which are adjacent to each other. Even they're parallel to each other. And we don't say Asiran without the mechitzah. We don't say the masses come in the gate of the mechitza. But here we say the masses are coming and they're negating the mechitza. Asiran without the mechitza. So there's a contradiction. There they says that the Lo Asiram Vat Lemechitza. And here it says Asiram Vat Lemechitza. Chacham Mosim. Chacham forbid. Chacham say we don't say Pitikra under those circumstances. That's not as I said, have to be adjacent to each other. That can't be parallel to each other. Amar Bleza says Eina Mechlefes. It's not a contradiction. Two different pshatim here, Carbon Ada. One is that, according as we will see momentarily, but then back in the Mishnah he said that Carbon said the Sfilei the Asura man the mechitzos ki ilu shaparts mul arab chosea shemil shtei mechitzos shlemos boyamod Rabbi Yehuda shein koach rav about the mechitzos that which is Samuel Clever Shita because Carbon explained in the Mishnah that if it is if you have two full walls. And here you have the walls in the article picture. The walls are drawn in. One wall here, one wall there. So that, but pasim, which are not four walls, asiram v'alim mechitzta. Or, that's one, unless any mechlefes, that's one shot, any mechlefes. Another shot, Rabbi Yirmiyah, the Sabak Rabbi Yehuda. That's either Rabbi Yirmiyah, according to the Korbaneda, is coming to answer, or it's a separate statement. Rabbi Yehuda, the Sabak Rabbi Yehuda, the Mar Rabbi Yehuda, as the Rabbi Yehuda said, the time of Fulash in the Bika. That the Gesharim of Fulashim works when it's open to a Carmelis. Where Bika is a Carmelis. But as opposed to Aval Imayim of Fulashim, Lushus Arabim, if they're foolish to Lushus Arabim, it's forbidden. And so therefore, the bridge is where it's foolish to a um, uh, the bridge is where it's foolish to a carmelist each side. That's why it's okay. Lo aser about mechitza. Our mission say about it's foolish to shusa rabim, and therefore we say aser rabim about mechitza. So according to Pshat Korban Eidah, that Rabbi Yirmiyah is not going to answer explain to resolve the contradiction of Rabbi Yehuda, and he's not saying, "Oh, this Rabbi Lezer means," and saying there's not a contradiction. So then you have to say it's a little bit doicha. I'm not sure why the Korban Eidah feels compelled to suggest this alternative. He himself says it's quite probable that Rabbi Yirmiyah is explaining why it's not a contradiction, and saying that there's images in Fulashim Labika and Fulashim Tushus Rabim, but what the Korban Eidah says is in fact factual according to the Bavli, because in the Bavli there is no this shita right here does not appear that difference between Fulashim Bika and Fulashim Shus Rabim. So therefore, I guess the Korban Eidah was saying that that which the Rabbi Yirmiyah is saying, this distinction between Fulashim Bika and Fulashim Shus Rabim, that's in Rabbi Elazar shita. Let's say in a muchlefes l'shitasi, because I hold there's in between because I like the Amora Rav Yehuda that there's a distinction between where it's mefulish to bika and mefulish to a rishus rabim. Menachami Rabbi Yehuda, the Tana holds the distinction is in rishus rabim, whether it is full walls or whether it's pasi biros, like Korban Eidah in the Mishnah. But again, the Korban Eidah himself says that even though there could be their resolution, it's like I said in the Mishnah, which I guess you would say, according to the Bavli, would be the resolution. According to the Yerushalmi, it seems quite clear that Rabbi Yirmiyah is coming to explain, no, this is the resolution that Rabbi Lezer is referring to, as Rabbi Yehuda holds a difference between Mefulash Lebika and Mefulash Tushus Rabin. Okay, I hope that wasn't too confusing. Rabbi Yosef said, "B'chol asar all over Shas." Rabbi Lezer Samech Rabbi Chia Ruba. Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Chia is consistent with the opinion of Rabbi Chia the Great. The Gilyon Ephraim brings on several places where this is manifest. Yavamas Perek Beis of Gimel, Peruchumas Perek Ches of Gimel. In any event, so he always says Rabbi Chia Ruba, and here it doesn't seem to say Rabbi Chia Ruba. How so? Tani Rabbi Chia said, "Kates Matir Rishus Rabim, Harry P'min Rishus Rabim." Now, all the unfortunately say it's not Rishus Rabim, but rather Mamavli Hamafulish Rishus Rabim. You have a Mamavli which is has a Rishus Rabim at either end. So, but the point is that the masses can go through the Mamavli Mafulish. So, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Lechi Mikan B'Lechi Mikan. You need a lechi on each side, or a Korah Mikan, or a Korah on each side. B'chachom omrim lechi b'kor mikan. You can only say a lechi on one side, and a with the acid tzuras pesach and tzuras pesach on the other side. But the masses can still go through. It's still acid rabim. It's not a wall. It's not even a door. It's just tzuras pesach and a lechi. V'kol marachein. Yet here he says that. There he said, obviously we don't say Asar Rambam Mechitzta, and yet here he seems to say that you do say Asar Rambam Mechitzta. Say only if it's Prutza Labika is okay. Now if it's Prutza Rishus Rabim. So the whole Asar Rambam Mechitzta, not all the Asar Rabim about the Mechitzta. So he wants to say, Kan Be'asar Kan Rabbi Chia Ruba's case, the case where the Mavi and Foolish is only 10 amos wide. In other words, it's Rishus Rabim this side, Rishus Rabim that side. It's just 16 amos, and Mavi Foolish is only 10 amos in the middle. You don't see Asir Rambam Mechi, it's only 10 amos width. It's like, barbell effect, 16, 10, 16 again. So you don't see Asir Rambam Mechi when it's only 10 amos wide, so it's special lechi suffices. In our Mishnah, possibly our Rabbi Yehuda said you can have up to a gap of 13 and a third. So therefore, in that case, we would say Asir Rabim about Mechitzta. Okay, but Milain Rabbanan Pligin. The words of Rabbi Rabbanan seem to argue in this. Because the Rabbi Acha, with the words of the following Rabbi Acha, Rabbi Yesha, Shol Abba, because Rabbi Acha said that Rabbi Yesha asked his father, I forget forget who his father was. Nobody says who it is. I don't remember. Rabbi Achad said, Rabbi Yosha asked his father, asked Rabbi Achad's father, Kamate Pitzas Movi, Al-Daita Rabbi Yehuda. Why can the picture of the Movi, this Movi, I'm foolish, there's a picture in the article, not that picture really is necessary, but I'll show it to you because there is a picture. Why not? See the Movi, there's a foolish Rabbi, both sides just a Rabbim, there's a Movi in the middle, just like the barbell effect I told you before. So how much? Vuamar leish. He said it could be up to 13 amos wide, right? Presumably 13 and a third. So how can you really say it's up to 10 amos? So the Gemara leaves that difficult. The Gemara gives a different answer, and this different answer, the second answer is basically identity with the Korban Eidah said in the Mishnah. So I'm not sure why the Korban Eidah felt really compelled to say that before that Rabbi Lezer was referring to this answer. Perhaps he meant to say that Rabbi Lezer was referring to Rabbanan Kesarim later on. I don't know. Anyway, this is basically what the Korban said. He changes the Rabbanan the Kesarim to Rabbanan the Kesarim. Takes up the Dalet. Rabbanan Kesarim Armin. Don't think the other unfortunate they bother taking out, but it's whether they take it or not. So it doesn't matter. The Rabbanan Kesarim, the Rabbanan Kesarim say that Talmud Omer Rabba parts. The reason Rabbi Yehuda says that by the bridge is because there are real walls on either side of the opening. So Omer Rabba parts. But here by Pasibros parts Rabbi Omer, it's just a wall of an amma in each corner, and then it's parts in the middle. So therefore, they will say that it's in that case the Asay Rabbim Umvat LeMechitza. Okay. Gemara says, "Ma ben." Back to the next, concerning the next part of our Mishnah. By the way, Maraponim says explicitly here before I go on that this answer is in accordance with the Bavli, like we said before when he mentioned Korban Eidah. So again, I don't know why the Korban Eidah made so big sims about it. I'm sorry for having confused you if I did. Anyway, so let's go on to the next part. Ma ben bor Rabbi, ma ben bor Yochid. What's the difference between the bor Rabbi and the bor of a Yochid? That we should be matir bor Rabbi for possibilities according to that shita, and we're not matir bor hayochid. Bor Rabbi yesh lo kol. So bor Rabbi has a kol that the Gemara explains. Bor Rabbi yesh lo kol. B'koydim yishum bor osu pasim. Everybody knows that they made the bor on account of the bor. They made the pasim yodim. And they know that the pasim were made to use here it says bear, but it's the bor, obviously. Bor Rabbi people don't necessarily know about that bor, which is the pasim. So people might think that you can mount the pasim without a bor. Me'ato, if that's the case, I feel a be'ero. If that's the case, even if he has a bear, people are not going to know he's going to have a bear. Why should he matter possibly what's calling that shita for be'er hayochid? Should he matter for anything that have to do with the yochid? El bor ha-rabim, the Pnei Moshe puts the word ein. Ein meima, it takes out the next line. Ein meima mitzvah chalos. The cistern, it's unlikely that the water is going to desist. In other words, there's always going to be water there. Bor yochid meimav mitzvah chalos. Its water is likely to go away at some point, and therefore we're afraid that the bor Rabbim, it's huge. There's going to be lots of water there. We're not afraid the water is going to be used up. Bor yochid, it's not so big. We're afraid the water is going to get used up, and you might still use pasros, even though there's no bor in there. Rabbi Abracha and Amram and Rabbi Yehuda b'shem Shmuel. Nobody seems to change the gears. I guess so. To read that. Rabbi Yaakov Racha and Amram and Rabbi Yehuda b'shem Shmuel said, "Allah, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava said, a mission. They only can make the pasibiros for a be'er harabim." Rabbi Yehuda avoided Rabbi Mitanya. Rabbi Yehuda father Rabbi Mitanya said, "Masisa Amar Kain." The simple Mishnah in the language of Mishnah seems to indicate this. It says, "Osim passionly be royos." You make a pass for be royos. Below the boros, it doesn't say boros. It says pasi biraos, not pase boros. It's spelled biraos with a vav, or B-Ra-Os with an aleph. It's a bear, not a boar. So it says Yerushalmi V'Otnan Avo. Then we learn Avo Bora Yochid Osta Mechitzak B'Avo Asar Tvangin Divrei Rabbi Akiva. Akiva says you can't, for a Bora Yochid, you can't make a Pasi B'Ros, but a Be'er Yochid you can. So maybe when it says Osim Pasi B'Ros, it's not just a Be'er Rabin like Yudah ben Bava. Maybe includes also a Be'er Yochid like Rabbi Akiva. Mishnahs can be doing like that as well. Let's see Pasi B'Ros, any bear, whether it's Be'er Rabin or Be'er Yochid. So in War's resolution is very tricky. There's a lot of different perushim here on the next line. But so I'm going to learn my way, which I think works out. Elikanu came with Be'er Rabin. So you know what? You're right. So far, all I've excluded is Be'er Rabin, and that's can't be going to Akiva, right? Because Akiva said you can make for a Be'er Rabin. He only excluded a Be'er Hayachid. But we're clearly saying, according to our deal, it can possibly be rose, that it can only be no bore works. It has to be bear. It has to be bear. Okay, granted. So if I only excluded boros harabim, bor harabim, all I've been able to reject is bor harabim. What about bear hayochid? How do I reject bear hayochid? So Gemara says, although it's not explicit here, but Gemara says, but when it rejects bor harabim, so I reject Rabbi Akiva's shita. Because Akiva says I can make it for bear harabim, bor harabim, and bear hayochid. And Yudah ben Bava says only bear harabim. So I only have two choices here. And if I exclude bor harabim, because I said it's only passingly be ra'os, so then I've excluded Akiva's shita. The kavasa is in passing be ra'os, the bear harabim. And therefore, similarly, I have to say that osim passing be ra'os is only for bear harabim. So again, because I only have two choices here, I have Rabbi Akiva, and I said, I already said I can't say Rabbi Akiva that it's Bor Harabim, because it says Biraos, which indicates Be'eros, not Bor Harabim. So too, the Kabasah, I have to say that Osim Pasi Biros is only to Be'er Harabim, not about anything else, and I eliminate, because once I eliminate, it's like Eidush Shabbat L'Miktsasa Bat L'Chula. Once I eliminate Parah Akiva, I eliminate all of Rabbi Akiva, and therefore I'm left saying that the Psak is like Yudah ben Bava, only for Be'er Harabim, not for anything else. Okay, like I said, a lot of different interpretations there. I think that's the most Pashut shot. Says the Gemara, says the mission further. If you have a garden and a karpaf, a enclosed area, which we don't, they're not mukaf ladira. Shima Amma Vishram, which is 70 and a remnant Amma, and 70 and a remnant Amma. Mukev Gada Gava Saratfachim. If it's surrounded by a wall which is 10 fachim, metalim b'socha, you can carry within it. Uvad sheba shomera, but it has to have a sukkah which is a sukkah shemim, or beis dira, or a dwelling place, o shetei smucha la'ir. So in order for it to be suitable to carry in, if it's that measure, it has to have something which indicates that it is mukaf ladira. This is a chum Rabbi ben Bava. Rabbi ben Bava is, according to Chachamim, as long as it's 5,000 square miles or less, which is 70 and 2/3, 70 by 2/3, it does not need mukaf ladira. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava is saying if it is, even if it's less than it's 5,000 square miles or less, no, it still has to have some indication that it's at least partially mukaf ladira. Otherwise, you can't use it. You can't carry it there at all. And that is partially mukaf ladira is it has a sukkah shel shormim, or of course the beis dira works, which is superior to sukkah shormim. But sukkah shel shormim is like it's not really mukaf ladira, because just for a shomer to sit there, that's not really a dira. Or it's muchal, since it's adjacent to the city, so therefore it is considered to be already part and parcel of the tashmish of the city, and therefore you can use it. But Without those things, since the base, even if it's less than the base of sign, you can't use it. We don't pass. We pass or make and say that a of the base of sign is okay, even if it's not mukav ladira. But Ibn Bava said this chumrah that you have to have it mukav, have to have some sort of hekav ladira. Okay, so where do we learn the 72 thirds amas from? So Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman Shem Yosef said Michotz HaMishkan Lamdu. They learned from the Chotz HaMishkan. Orach HaChotz HaMeh the length of the Mishkan was 100 amos. Its width was 50 by 50. So 50, what does 50 by 50 mean? So perhaps means there's 50 in front of the structure of the Mishkan, which was the Atzishiti Moimdim of the actual the actual ohel of the Mishkan, and then there's 50 beyond it, including that area. So I don't know if we have. I don't think there's a picture here anywhere, but amen. That's the way it looked like. There was 50 a courtyard in front, and then there's the beginning. There was the structure, and the 50 from the structure till the end. But here we darshan 50 to 50. Chamishin zimnin min mea. In other words, the word min is superfluous here. Cormier takes it out, but I mean it's take 50 times 100. So 50 times 100 is 5,000. Chamesh alafim. Now so they're about 5,000 square amos. So we need to find, in order to find how that works, if it's a square, you have to take the square root of 5,000. We do shivin means shivin, do 70 from 70 means 70 times 70 here. That gives you 5,000. Para less mea, because 70 times 70, 4,900, right? Utninan shivin b'shiraim. And we learned 70 and change. So what's the change? Tani Shmuel, so Shmuel said, put in the word shivim here. The Reb Chaim puts the word shivim. Probably others do too. Shivim amma, it's 270 ammas. Ushnei shlishe amma shanu, and 2/3 of an amma, and that's the square root of 5,000. Actually, the picture in the art scroll is so great for showing on screen. Here you have Reb Chaim's pictures. You have 70. You have the 70 and 70 in the middle, and you have on each side 70 times a third twice. In other words, because 2/3 of an amma is going to end up. So 70 times a third and 70 times a third. Those are the two strips over here, and over here 70 a third times 7 and 70 a third. Those two strips over there. So so you have so again Tanishmo Shivin Amos Shnei Shlishi Shnei Shlishi Amos Shonu Shivin Zimni Min Train Tlasehon. So you have 70 times 2/3 over here, and Shivin Zimni Min Train Tlasehon was 72 times 2/3 over here, and Davin Mea Varboim it makes 140 Tlasehon. Mea Varboim Tlasehon. So since it's 170 times a third times 2 over here, 70 times a third times 2 over here, that makes altogether 140 times 2/3. Shehein Tishim V'Sholosh Amma V'Shlish, which are 93 amos and a third. And there's a cheshman here in Reb Chaim. I'm not sure where. Over here. 140. I don't know if you can see it here. Well, anyway, I'll just say outside because the equation is there. 140 times a third plus 140 times a third equals 280 times a third. Divided by 3 equals 93 and a third. Okay, so that's another 93 and a third. Okay, 280 is 280 divided 280 divided by 280 times 1/3 equals 280 divided by 3, which is 93 and a third. So we're up to 4,993 and a third. Okay, so we still need an additional amount of 6 2/3. So that we get from the corner, which is 4/3. Temem arba teshuin arba ruchos. There are 4 ninths for the 4 corners. Over here, the other 4 corners over there. So each one is an additional third, right? Third of an amma. So 4 times 1/3. Each one is 1/3 square amma. So 1/3 square amma times 4 equals 1/3 by a third equals 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 1/9 times 1, and then you have 4 of those. So that's 4 ninths. So you get additional 4 ninths in the corner over there. Okay, so you have 4,993 and 7/9 amos now, including all those things together, the which you just described, and so that means you're missing 6 2/9 amos. So the Gemara decides to define that as by thirds of amos. So the Gemara says, okay, how many thirds of amos you're missing? So 6 2/9. If you're making it the thirds, it's more than 18/3, but less than 19/3, right? Because 2/9 is not 3/9, it's not a third. So it's missing a ninth. So it's 19/3 missing a ninth. Oh, that's what it says. You're still missing now 19/3, missing a ninth. And that's what it calls here the Nishtayasham Tisha Sartitulin Choser Teshua. Because the Tani, that's what we said. Yesh Kandavar, there's an additional amounts besides the 72/3 amos, which got us all the way up to 4,993 and 7/9 amos. We're still missing those 19/3 minus a ninth. In other words, that those 6 2/9 amos, and that's Davar Kal. We're not able to make that precise and make that additional amount, distribute that additional amount over the 2/3 over the course of the square. And that is classic strip geometry of the time of the Gemara. And today we'll just take out a calculator and do the square root of 5,000, but it was not available to them back then. And this is as precise as they could get. And we will stop here for tonight.